Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Your Server. In today's episode, I'm fat, ugly, and make nice money at a chain. $30 tip on almost $700 party of 20 after 4 hours. The rude, forgetful man. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I'm fat, ugly, and make nice money at a chain. Tales from a server. I got a nice thing going for me, what can I say? I work at a barbecue joint and I'm there all weekend. To be honest, I'm not the worst thing in the world. I'm a solid 7 out of 10 and got a nice beer belly, but when it comes to serving, I feel like these things matter. If I'm not already recommending certain cuts, people are ready to ask what I usually eat. Big groups appreciate my knowledge, families trust me, insecure couples aren't worried about me. I'm not creeped on, tables want to shake my hand at the end. This has to be uncommon, right? And it is always a good time. Shout out to all the hefty dudes out there. Only thing that S**CKs is taking up so much space in the kitchen, angry face behind. If you describe yourself as a 7, that doesn't sound ugly. Plain isn't ugly, and even plain is subjective. ASH*T attitude on an attractive person is still ugly overall. A thoughtful and helpful person possesses a beauty beyond the outer surface. 7 is above average. A 5 would be average. A 3 or less would be ugly. There's a phenomenon called the above average phenomenon, or something similar, where the majority of people think they're better looking / smarter / more interesting than the average person, even though it'd be 50-50. Because of this, people think a 6 to 7 is average, so this person is likely a 5 in reality. This is a strange thing to post. That just means OP is also socially challenged. Man, what a lucky guy to be doing so well. Strange but wonderful. Rock on, dude. I'm a fat, ugly 7. Maybe it's an Ohio 7 but a California 3. Looking California, feeling Minnesota. A Scranton 7, so a New York 6. You sound confident and self-aware. That alone puts you ahead of 90% of the pack. Keep on keeping on, brother. I'd buy you a beer anytime. If you go to a barbecue restaurant and the chef/cooks aren't fluffy, I don't trust you. LOL. Hey, don't knock the high metabolism barbecue junkies. Knew one guy 5 feet 10 inches 125 pounds, soaking wet with a brick in each pocket, but he could smoke some meat and his homemade sauce was amazing. He'd also down food like no tomorrow, just really high metabolism. Charisma is charisma. An amazing attitude will take a 3 to a 9 IMO. Speaking as a cis male, not sure if things work in other types of situations, but I'd wager they do. Course, the opposite is also true. Even if someone is very attractive to me, if they are a terrible person, I have a hard time even seeing their physical beauty. Well, it's you, Sally, not that you can't see it, it's that you can hear them, LOL. Nah man, you're right. I've met many pretty women or handsome men that I can't stand to be around because they're just not pleasant to be around. Beauty is skin deep and the illusion is even thinner. I'm a skinny gal and I worked at a restaurant known for its bakery. People would always joke that I probably couldn't recommend them any cakes because I'm skinny. Like, yes, I've had all the cakes, but I bike to and from work, go to the gym all the time and walk miles every day doing loops around a big establishment. Oppositely, I'm not even skinny, I'm on the higher side of a normal BMI with some weight to lose. Still, I've had people asking how I stay so small working around all of our food, LOL. Not quite the same, but I used to get something similar back in college. I'd go to the gym almost every day and people would comment, "Oh, you're not fat because you're young." While yes, it is a factor, I put in work at the gym. Almost felt like an insult. Looks matter far more for women than for men for whom personality matters more. A fat guy with a good personality is probably the ideal stereotype for a male waiter at a barbecue joint, especially one on the cheaper side. Fluffy guys represent $30 tip on almost $700 party of 20 after 4 hours. It was a 20 top and they ordered a sh*t ton of drinks, so after tip out, I would have lost money taking care of them, because I work at a semi-corporate restaurant and corporate refuses to allow autograt. Also, because it was so big, I only took one other table tonight, with like a $20 tab. So yeah, with her tip I would have literally paid to come to work today. But literally as I was writing this post, a couple of people from the table caught me on their way out, and were like, "You did amazing today. Thank you so much. Did they tip you well?" And I answered honestly, and was like, "No, haha, they tipped $30, so I actually probably didn't make anything after tip out, but don't worry about it. I know it wasn't y'all's fault, and I hope you have a great rest of your night." And then they pulled $40 out of their wallet, and gave it to me, and texted, I'm assuming, the rest of their group cause I got $10 more from another person. Still, next time a corporate person comes to my store, I'm going to tattoo autograph for more than 10 ppl on their arm, lol. Most people wouldn't ask if you got tipped well if they didn't pay, so it seems like the host of that party is a known cheap ass. I'm glad they took care of you, but people really need to re-evaluate themselves if they are going out to eat. My parents tip like 10 to 15% on expensive meals, because it always costs so much. So if they're paying, I just let them pay their small amount, and then I'll tip 20%. A lot of folks are mathematically clueless, especially while drinking and talking. The corporate restaurant I work at doesn't do autograt at all. Once had a coworker take a party of 12 where the bill was like $500 to $600 total, and was tipped a whole $11 total. He literally paid an extra $5 out of his pocket for him to be treated rudely by them too, and wasted his time. Before the incident though, I had been speaking causally to my GM about this, and he said the reason why the company doesn't add gratuity is because it causes more problems, because it makes people unhappy, and we receive more calls about people who aren't too thrilled that they're being charged more than what they should be. Absolute BS. Before I had moved cities, at a restaurant I worked at, we had to circle the gratuity amount and write the percent of gratuity they were being charged and verbally tell them that it is added. And I think this should just be a standard policy. 15% autograts need to be a given on parties of 8 or more. Period. 20% at my place 8 or more. I can choose to add it or not. 15%? Not 20% autograt. No autograt is a sh*t management practice. Despite you coming out okay at the very end because of decent humans, I would just inform management that you will never, ever, consent to serve parties like that again. Full stop. It's almost like there's a reason autograt is standard practice at like 90% of restaurants. It protects you as much as it does the restaurant. The reason autograts have gone away, in the US, is because a few years ago, tax laws changed and now autograts have to be put on paychecks and taxed as wages. Restaurants now carry a higher tax liability on those amounts, and it creates more accounting work. It's bullsh*t and it's annoying. But that's why it's happened. Stories like this makes me think that restaurants that require servers to tip out should also require an autograt. Servers should never have to bear the brunt of sh*tty corporate decisions. Maybe servers in the USA could unionize and demand a living wage? So many servers here claim to love the tipping system, but there's a fair amount of evidence that it's flawed. One time not long after my brother's wedding, both families went out to eat together. At least 10 people altogether, bill probably somewhere over $200. My dad told my sister-in-law's dad, "I've got the bill if you got the tip." Man literally left a $5 tip. My dad calculated out 15% and covered the remainder of the tip as well. My family doesn't like the in-laws family all that much. That's still only $80, that's at least $60 short. Corporate, we don't want to pay you well, but we don't want our customers to feel that they have to either. I'd be livid and so would our owners. My owner has berated his own friends for not tipping properly. I'm sorry for this. I'm going to troll a little, but your boss could also provide fair wages, and or autograph every table, if their employees' tips, and by extension wages, are so important to them. $700 would be $150 minimum to me. For a party that big, I imagine that you did a great job. I wouldn't look for a reason not to tip someone in a situation like that. Ugh, people not following societal customs. The rude, forgetful man. Happened last week, and it's still entertaining to me how a grown-ass man can so rapidly turn into a toddler throwing a tantrum. So, I work in a middle-range neighborhood bistro. Nothing too fancy, fairly casual, but still pretty nice. Our clientele is pretty much exclusively regulars who come back, and we're pretty busy. For further context, since about mid to late August, my home province has been mandating that we ask for proof of vaccination before allowing access to dine-in customers, which for the most part hasn't been a problem. I say, for the most part, because every once in a while, somebody like this happens. So, we have a reservation for 4 people, we set up a booth for them, and I ask for proof of vaccination and IDs for the group. First 3 folks, no problem, they go sit down. The 4th lad, though, shows me a piece of ID, but has no proof of vaccination on him. He asks me if he can still join his group, but I politely inform him that if he doesn't have proof of vaccination, I can unfortunately not let him in. He proceeds to storm off, calling me an A*** hole, as well as other several choice, and rather unflattering, epithets. I try to apologize to him, but by then he's stormed out the restaurant. One of his table mates goes out, ostensibly to give him a ride home so he can pick up his proof of vaccination and return to join his friends. I go to the remaining 2 guests, apologizing for what's happened, saying how sorry I am about having to enforce the rules, but how those are the rules and all. The 2 are nice enough about it. When things get interesting, though, is when Mr. Grumpy Pants returns with his proof of vaccination. My coworker scans it, he joins his table mates. I, being a professional, go over to the table and try and smooth things over. I attempt to apologize for what happened, but I barely get a word in before he cuts me off, repeatedly, insulting me and saying all sorts of awful things about me. Just a charming time overall. He then makes it clear in no uncertain terms that he demands that someone else serve him, so I tell his table it might be a wait, as my coworker is busy serving other tables, but Mr. Grumpy Pants will not speak to me any longer, so I tell my coworker to take over. Well, they wait a while, and even consider leaving because they fear that the staff might adulterate their order somehow. My coworker serves them, and it's overall rather uneventful, and the table stiffs him, because obviously, why would you tip the other guy doing his job properly for what isn't even technically my fault? Had served them several times before, and haven't seen them since, hopefully I never do again. Honestly, he shouldn't have been allowed back in with the abuse he hurled at you. Especially coming back and acting like that. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I've nearly 11 years of experience serving, and at this point it was clearly such a him thing, and not a me thing. I just gave him an extra smarmy sounding "another server will come take care of you, have a delightful evening," and left laughing inside. Business is business, morons are funny. This, carrot, don't bother getting your vaccination card. You're never coming back in here. People never cease to amaze me. If I forget my vaccination card, I'm the idiot, not the server. The server needs tipped extra for putting up with me. Before vaccination cards, it was ID to get alcohol. The most shocking part to me is that he actually was vaccinated. We have this at our restaurant as well, lol. Had a party of 30 people come in, organizer forgot his proof. They were from far away, he couldn't pick it up. This grown-as man threw a temper tantrum, refused to let the party go inside for their already paid lunch, and they lingered outside the restaurant for hours. Change ing to oit and call the police if they're interfering with the customers or other staff. Sorry you had to be his dumping ground for his baby temper tantrum. We all need to quit apologizing for the rules, and to whole s. YTF was he let back in after his attitude problem? And his friends are equally assholish. I'd be before I let someone at my table act like that. And then they stiff the other person too? That whole group should be barred. I honestly wish you were allowed to serve people like this their drinks in a sippy cup. It would make my month to see this. Act like a child, get treated like a child. It's perfect. He called you an hole, and you still let him back in? Imagine the look on his face when he returned and you told me to get out, but his friends could stay? Zero reason to serve this guy. If he's willing to give money to the establishment and he's not going to bother either my guests or my coworkers, and provided I can handle him, I'm not going to turn down a sale. Are you in BC? A couple of weeks into our vaccine passport thing, I had a similar experience in September with a man, looked like mid-50s, who came for lunch with his mom, who appeared to be in her late 80s. Asked him for his proof of vaccination. My what? Oh, maybe he didn't hear me through my mask, since this has been a thing for a few weeks now. So I repeat myself louder. His elderly mother already has hers out with her ID. Well, I didn't think I needed it, I left it in the car. Not sure what brought him to that conclusion, but okay, I can't serve you without it. Would you mind going to get it so I can see? He gets up in a huff and storms out, returns in a few minutes as I'm dropping off his mom's mimosa. Someone yelled at me because I wasn't wearing a mask. He pouted to his mom as he sat back down. He threw his vax info and ID down on the table. I don't think it's fair to get yelled at. I had my mask in my hand, I would have put it on if I knew I had to. I thank him for showing the stuff and ask him what he'd like to drink. He pushes his elderly mother's mimosa to my edge of the table and says, "Actually, Mom, I really don't appreciate being yelled at. I've lost my appetite. We're leaving." The look on his poor mom's face as he dragged her out of there by the wrist, but at least he put his mask on the way out. Bye. First mistake was letting him back in, and allowing a customer who cursed at you back into your establishment. Grow a spine, tell his party he's not welcome, and they will not be getting service if he's with them. Thanks for calling me spineless, I suppose. In Australia, until new rule changes next week, it is the law you have to be vaccinated to enter a pub or restaurant. Everyone has the proof on the official government app, no paper cards. Police will do spot checks, and if there is a breach, it is big fines to the business and the individual. Never seen anyone kick up a stink for being refused. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.